Hi guys, it's me reading ASMR, and I'm going to carry on reading this book. Hopefully, we can read a little bit more for you, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy this video. Okay. I once heard an artist say that when a person has no problems, the mind automatically finds a way to invert them. I think what most people, especially educated, pampered, middle-class, white people, consider life problems are really just side effects of not having anything more important to worry about. It then follows that finding something important and meaningful in your life is perhaps the most productive use of your time and energy. Because if you don't find that meaningful something, your fucks will be giving to meaningless and frivolous causes. Subtlety 3. Whether you realise it or not, you're always choosing what to give a fuck about. People aren't just born not giving a fuck. In fact, we're born giving way too many fucks. Ever watch a kid cry his eyes out because his hat is the wrong shade of blue? Exactly. Fuck that kid. When we're young, everything is new, exciting, and everything seems to matter so much. Therefore, we give tons of fucks. We give a fuck about everything and everyone. About what people are saying. About whether that cute girl or boy called us back or not. Whether our socks match or not. Or what colour our birthday balloon is. As much as we get older, with the benefit of experience and having seen so much time slip away, we begin to notice that most of these sorts of things have little lasting impact on our lives. Those people whose opinions we cared about so much before we no longer longer present in our lives. Rejections that were painful in the moment have actually worked out for the best. We realise how little attention people pay to the superficial details about us, and we choose to not obsess so much over them. Essentially, we become more selective about the fucks we're willing to give. This is something called maturity. It's nice, you should try it sometime. Maturity is what happens when one learns to only give a fuck about what's truly fuck-worthy. As Bunk Moreland said to his partner, Detective McNulty, in The Wire, which fuck you I still downloaded. That's what you get for giving a fuck when it wasn't your turn to give a fuck. I'm just gonna check. Then, as we grow older and enter middle age, something else begins to change. Our energy level drops. Our identity solidifies. We know who we are, and we accept ourselves, including some parts we aren't thrilled about. And in a strange way, this is liberating. We no longer need to give a fuck about everything. Life is just what it is. We accept it, warts and all. We realise that we're never going to cure cancer, or go to the moon, or feel Jennifer Aniston's tits. That is an upsetting thought. I mean, I really did think I would in my lifetime feel Jennifer Aniston's tits, but we move on. And that's okay. Life goes on. We now reserve ever-dwindling fucks for the most truly fuck-worthy parts of our lives. Our families, our best friends, our golf swing, and to our astonishment, this is enough. This simplification actually makes us really fucking happy on a consistent basis. And we start to think maybe that crazy alcoholic Bukowski was onto something. Don't try. Now we're on to another chapter, which is always good because I read as probably as slow as an old woman can run, but we're on to it. Let's go. So Mark, what the fuck is the point of this book anyway? This book will help you think a little bit more clearly about what we're choosing to find important in life and what we're choosing to find unimportant. I believe that today we're facing a psychological epidemic, one in which people no longer realise it's okay for things to suck sometimes. And if you're wondering, yes, I did read that twice because I messed up my sentence, so we'll move on. I know that sounds intellectually lazy on the surface, but I promise it's life and death sort of issue. Because when we believe that it's not okay for things to suck sometimes, then we unconsciously start blaming ourselves. We start to feel as though sometimes inherently wrong with us, which drives us all sorts of compensation, like buying 40 pairs of shoes or downing Xanax with vodka chaser on a Tuesday night, or shooting up a school bus full of kids. This belief that it's not okay to be independent sometimes is a source of growing feedback loop from hell that is coming to dominate our culture. The idea of not giving a fuck is a simple way of reorientating our expectations for life and choosing what is important and what is not. Developing this ability leads to something I like to call practical enlightenment. No, not that airy-fairy eternal bliss, end of all suffering, bullshitty kind of enlightenment. On the contrary, I see practical enlightenment as becoming comfortable with the idea that some suffering is always inevitable. That no matter what you do, life is comprised of failures, loss, regrets, even death. Because once you become comfortable with all this shit that life throws at you, and it will throw a lot of shit, trust me, you become invincible in a sort of low-level spiritual way. After all, the only way to overcome pain is to first learn how to bear it. This book doesn't give a fuck about alleviating your problems or your pain. And that is precisely why you will always know it's being honest. This book is not some guide to greatness. It could be, because greatness is merely an illusion in our minds, a made-up destination that we obligate ourselves to pursue, our own psychological Atlantis. Instead, this book will turn your pain into a tool, your trauma into power, and your problems into slightly better problems. That is the real progress. Think of it as a guide to suffering and how to do it better, more meaningful, with more compassion and more humility. It's a book about moving lightly despite your heavy burdens, resting easier with your greatest fears, laughing at your tears as you cry them. This book will not teach you how to gain or achieve, but rather how to lose and let go. It will teach you to take inventory of your life and scrap out all of the best and most important items. It will teach you to close your eyes and trust fall backwards and it'll still be okay. It will teach you to give fewer fucks. It will teach you not to try. Ooh. Chapter 2. I'm looking forward to this, I hope you are. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope you have a nice night.